Are we going to see Terence Crawford versus Canelo?
As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it.
Turki Alalshikh proposed a highly anticipated bout between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, generating buzz in the boxing community. The fight, likely to occur in Saudi Arabia, would be a significant event in 2025. Crawford's victory over Madrimov at 154 pounds raised questions about his ability to move up a weight class to face Canelo Alvarez. The fight was closely contested, and some believe Crawford's victory was forced to facilitate a future clash with Canelo. Crawford himself expressed interest in fighting Canelo during his post-fight interview, suggesting that the mega fight is possible if the financial terms are acceptable.
Is Canelo Alvarez the fight you want next?
Well, you know what I say. If the money's right, we got to fight.
Crawford played down the significance of the Canelo fight, stating that it held limited personal importance since Canelo had the physical attributes to compete comfortably at a higher weight class. His dismissive attitude was not a sign of disrespect, but rather a reflection of his confidence in his abilities and focus on his long-term goals. Crawford stated, "Not at all. I'm pretty sure he could fight at 168. This guy is big. In the amateurs, he fought at a higher weight than he is now, and he was very competitive. The Canelo fight is not so important to me. It's just another milestone to greatness, I suppose. And financially." Canelo is next in the ring against unbeaten Puerto Rican fighter Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. If he successfully defends his WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight titles, then fans may just see a Crawford-Canelo clash early next year. Alalshikh clearly agrees about how attractive the event would be, and he said, "I gave Alvarez an offer. If he's smart, he'll accept it." If Canelo rejects the fight, then Alalshikh insists Virgil Ortiz will be the next man to receive a call. He stated, "If they accept, we want to see this fight." Virgil Ortiz trainer Robert Garcia thought Crawford's fight with Madrimov was a very close fight, and it wasn't enough for Crawford to convince people into thinking that he could go up against Canelo at a much higher weight class. Garcia believes that a fight against Ortiz would be better for Crawford. Robert stated, "Maybe Crawford's performance was not good enough for people to expect him to do very well against Canelo, so maybe an Ortiz fight is a good idea." Coming to Crawford versus Madrimov, Crawford said that he felt the difference at 154, and also commended Israel as a strong fighter, considering that Madrimov beat Crawford's 11 knockout win streak. Crawford stated, "Madrimov is real strong, he's durable, he took a lot of good shots, and he got me to round 12. Crawford also appreciated his team for preparing him to go up against an exceptional fighter like Israel Madrimov. Crawford further added, "For us to come and fight a guy of his caliber the first fight at 154 pounds says a lot about me and my team." However, Madrimov's promoter Eddie Hearn was not pleased by the results. Eddie felt that Madrimov did enough to defend his title, and Crawford's performance wasn't decisive enough to give him the victory as the challenger. Hearn said that Madrimov's performance as an inexperienced professional boxer was exceptional against a pound-for-pound fighter like Crawford.
Very close main event. Obviously, heard what I said. I would say as well, I didn't realise there was two 115, 113s, one 116, 112. I thought there was two 116, 112s. I thought Israel Madrimov did enough to edge it tonight. I know there's always the argument of dethroning the champion, whether you think that's a thing or not. You know, I'm not sure I felt that Bud Crawford dethroned Israel Madrimov tonight, but what we are is extremely proud of him. 10 fights in, and we're debating whether he won a fight against the pound-for-pound number one. Experience would have changed everything. Maybe a little bit more work rate, but it was a fight that we believe we could have edged. Respect to Terence Crawford, he's a great champion. It's nothing against him, but I was just disappointed that especially one of the judges gave Crawford the last 4 rounds. The other 2 judges gave Crawford 3 of the last 4 rounds. And thought it could have been different.
Madrimov's trainer, Joel Diaz, defended his fighter's performance, believing Madrimov deserved at least a draw. He remains confident in Madrimov's abilities and will work with him to improve for future challenges.
And like I told you, I'm going to repeat it one more time. A draw would have been a win for us, so at least he could keep his title, because he did enough. Okay, let's put it this way. He did enough to walk away with a draw and walk away with his title.
Crawford dismissed Eddie's claims as a weak attempt to hide his and his fighter's shortcomings. He asserted that Eddie's fighter lost due to poor technique and preparation. Crawford maintained his confidence, emphasizing that his team trained diligently and executed their plan effectively. He believed the outcome reflected the fighter's skill levels.
Man, you gotta understand, that's his fighter. You know, he's gonna say anything that he can to hype it up. You know, he knows that guy lost, and so do his team, and so do he.
Eddie also said that Crawford can't fight Canelo at 168, and it's just not because of the weight difference between the two fighters, according to him. Eddie advised Crawford to stay at 154 and fight other notable names in the division. Eddie stated, Crawford can't fight at 168. Listen, the trouble he had against Madrimov wasn't necessarily because of the size, it was a little bit because of that, but it was also because of the movement. He can't fight at 168. Canelo would mow through him. He should try and fight the big names at 154. Madrimov was happy about his performance and also believed he did enough to win the fight. Madrimov said that his fight with Crawford wasn't his toughest fight and agreed with Eddie Hearn about the final decision of the fight.
I felt good. I felt proud of myself, and I think I did enough. Like Eddie said, Spence is really good. He's pound for pound best. He's one of the best in the world. He's not an easy fight. He knocked out the last 10 opponents he fought, Spence and others. The best in the world. I didn't feel like it was my toughest fight. There were some questions about how easy I won my world championship belt in my previous fight, and I think in this fight I just proved why I was easy then and why I'm a champion and why I deserve to be a champion.
Madrimov believed he showed enough in the ring to prove he was worthy of a rematch against Crawford. Madrimov said, "I fought the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and I believe I did enough because I'm a champion. I was defending the belt. I was controlling the rhythm and felt very comfortable inside the ring. I felt I did very well. I felt that I at least deserved a rematch, and if His Excellency, Turki Alalshikh, can make it happen, then let's go." Coming to what the pros had to say about this fight, many were divided about Crawford's performance and doubted if he could actually go up against a much bigger Canelo Alvarez. Ryan Garcia didn't shy away from admitting his distaste regarding the result of the Crawford-Madrimov fight and asked that Canelo Alvarez knock out Crawford if the two fought in a ring next. He said, "Canelo co this guy for fun." King Rai then also questioned Crawford's P4P number 1 status and argued, regardless of the outcome, y'all said Crawford is P4P. Don't look like this. This man has 11 fights. Ryan didn't stop there as he went to call Crawford bad names and said that Canelo would beat him badly.
Crawford is trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his I felt he won. At least a draw. The judges. You weirdos. You guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. Suck a You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident. You
Christine Lopez, the USA boxing team's coach, decided to distance herself from the slander against Crawford and believed that him winning was the only result that mattered. She announced, "I'm muting all Bud hate because at this point that's all it is. Congrats, Bud. Beautiful job against a worthy opponent." Jamel Herring shed light on the tactical back and forth of the fight and attracted the attention to championship rounds, where Crawford turned up the heat. His comment read, "That was definitely a technical chess match. I think Bud turned it up, coming down the stretch in the championship rounds." Devin Haney said that Crawford was exceptional throughout the fight and also predicted the winner of the Canelo-Crawford fight in favor of Bud Crawford.
Miss Madrimov's putting up a good fight, right?
My bad, sis. I'm blocking you up.
Yeah,
Measy.
Crawford looks good at 154 so far.
See, right there, little other side.
Crawford, the weight is showing, but Crawford is Crawford. He's handling the weight well then, for sure. Just based off what you're seeing right now, if he was in there with Canelo, that would be 2 more weights up. Depending on where he comes in, like 160, 162. Crawford. Hey, Devin, would you be surprised if
No more, y'all. We good for the rest of it, man.
However, Ishii Smith believed the weight jump didn't carry well for Crawford and advised him to stay at 154 and not fight Canelo. Ishii said, "Bud should stay at 154. Don't fight Canelo. Don't think the weight carried well." Lou DiBella also advised Bud to not go for Canelo right now after watching his performance against Madrimov. He posted, "Bud boxed like Bud and won. Still, I think he had less snap on his punches at 154 pounds. Not much power evident. Think that resulted in Madrimov getting maybe too much credit. That and the frustration his bouncy, herky-jerky style was creating for Bud. 1-68? No, not now." Mario Lopez said that Crawford shouldn't call out Canelo after this kind of performance.
I think he's in trouble if he fights Canelo, I'll tell you right now. No. After that, I don't think so. I mean, hey, Madrimov's a badass dude, though. He's a badass dude. The whole night was great, though. Good to see you, Alex.
Crawford versus Canelo features 2 of the best boxers in the world and is currently the most anticipated matchup in the sport. Although Crawford is eager for the bout, Canelo has previously downplayed the idea due to Crawford's lower weight class, which was somewhat seen in his fight against Madrimov. Nonetheless, the Mexican superstar has indicated he might reconsider if the financial incentive incentive is substantial enough. And when it comes to money, His Excellency certainly has the means to make this fight a reality. If the bout does come to pass, Bud Crawford's trainer, Brian McIntyre, shared his thoughts about the mega fight. Canelo has been in the game long enough to know what he's doing, but if Crawford faces him right after the Madoff fight, Canelo might find himself in a bit of trouble. Crawford will be in his rhythm and groove, and that's a dangerous combination. A former opponent of Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., shared his thoughts about the bout. He said if Terence wants to be great, let him be. He said he doesn't have any idea who's going to win the fight, but he would definitely choose Crawford.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, you know. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm with it. So, you know, I'll be going for Bud, you know, if he fight Canelo.
You got Crawford over Bud? I mean, you got Crawford over Canelo? Sorry.
I'll be going for him. I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah. You know,
he's chasing greatness. So.
Commentator Tim Bradley believes Terence Crawford will be victorious against undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Bradley thinks Crawford can outbox Canelo just like Floyd Mayweather Jr. did 11 years ago when he defeated the Mexican star when he was 22 years old, fighting at a catchweight in 2013. After hearing that Canelo is not really interested in this fight, Bradley mentioned Jermell Charlos, who came in at 154 and survived against Canelo. He stated, "This is the problem with the fact that he fought against Jermell Charlo. Charlo comes in at 154. Jermell moved up a couple of weight divisions to fight Canelo. He got in there and laid an egg. He just basically went in there and survived. I'm not on Canelo's level, but the difference is the mentality of Crawford. He's a top pound-for-pound guy." Bradley believes that Crawford will survive against Canelo. He's the best pound-to-pound boxer in the world right now. He said, "Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. The skill set of Crawford is what he brings," said Bradley. "He's a competitor, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against Canelo. I really do." Carlos Adams, who sparred with Terence Crawford, believes that Terence shouldn't be fighting Canelo right now. He thinks that Canelo punches really hard and it will be dangerous for Terence's boxing career.
Pienso que sí, ya que subí 3 divisiones bastante libre, demasiada yo diría. Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Gracias, campeón. Caleb Plant said that Crawford has a different style than Canelo, which could be fun to watch in their match. He said that he can't look past a talent like Crawford.
Do you think, based on what you saw tonight, and I know that's a very reactionary thing, but do you think Bud showed enough to actually convince the fans and the people back in that fight that it should happen?
You know, I think he's been out for a year, so maybe there was some ring rust as well. And also styles make fights. That guy's got a bit of a difference. He's got some attributes that Canelo has, his explosiveness, his power, but he still has a different style than Canelo. So styles make fights. I feel like if Terence could get a little more busy, a little more active, you know, it could do him better. And at that point, I really wouldn't put anything past Terence. He's a special man. And, you know, thus far, when he puts his mind to something,
Crawford's training partner and 3-weight world champion Shakur Stevenson thinks that his fellow Terence Crawford has the power to hurt Canelo and will get his hand raised if the two do meet in the ring. He said that he's been with him for a long time. He believes Terence has a better IQ than Canelo and can hurt Canelo. "I stand on that Crawford beats Canelo. I stand on that. I'm just speaking off from what I've seen with Bud. I'm in the gym with him. I get to watch him all the time. There have been times where I've been around him every day. I've been in training camps with Bud. I've seen him hurt heavyweights. I've seen him hit heavyweights, and they go on shaky legs. I just don't agree with the logic that Bud can't hurt Canelo, or he hasn't got enough to keep Canelo off of him. I think Bud is the better boxer IQ-wise. I think he's strong, and I think he can beat Canelo Alvarez. That's just my opinion. And until someone can show me otherwise, then I believe what I believe." Jose Benavidez believes that Terence can beat Canelo. He said that anything can happen in boxing. It's up to you how you use your mind.
Well, you know, I feel like anybody's beatable. You know, Crawford's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a smart fighter. He's undefeated, right? He's beat the best of the best. So, I mean, I feel like he'll beat him. I mean, if everyone puts their mind to it and they train how they're supposed to train, which I know he is, I mean, anything's possible because Crawford is, I mean, Canelo's not bigger than him. I mean, weight-wise he is, but height-wise they're about the same height. So, I mean, boxing, anything's possible. Just how you use your mind.
The sparring partner Tyrone Davis, who has shared the ring with both fighters, think that size will play a major role in this fight. He believes that Terence is a great fighter with skills, but the opponent he will be facing has skill and size both. He said that it's a big advantage for Canelo, as he is bigger than Crawford, and it'll be too hard for Crawford to gain victory against Canelo. He stated, Davis believes Crawford would find it hard to cause real damage to Canelo, who is known for his granite chin even at light heavyweight. He stated, absolutely, he would have to fight the perfect fight. Size will play a factor in that fight. It'll be a lot harder to damage Canelo, and Canelo's punches will be way more effective than Crawford's punches if they fight at 168, so it'll be an issue. It's not impossible, but it will be hard. Jim Lapley believes that there is nothing that Terence can't do. He said we can't tell Crawford what he can or what he should do. He thinks that Terence is able to do anything, and he's the most stubborn guy he's ever seen.
Tell Terence Crawford he can't do anything. There's no... If Terence Crawford told me, I'm going to become a light heavyweight, and I'm going to fight David Benavidez, I would say Terence knows better than I do what he can do. I mean, does it make any sense? No, it doesn't make any logical sense. So at the end of the day, we can speculate all we want about what he can do or what he should do, but nobody's going to decide this other than Terence Crawford. He is willful, he is stubborn, he is self-possessed, he is possessed of enormous self-belief. He is as confident as any person I've ever met. If I tell Terence Crawford, you can't drive your Ferrari from this intersection to the next one, he's going to get into the Ferrari and prove to me that I'm wrong. So I look forward to seeing whether Terence can prove everybody wrong about what he can or should do. And I also look forward to finding out whether Canelo Alvarez wants that fight.
Oleksandr Usyk is confident about his friend Terence Crawford. He thinks that Terence will win against Canelo. He said Terence is smart and different. He stated, I like Terence. He is my friend, but he is a crazy man. I say Terence wins. Listen, Terence is a different man. He fights out of two sides, stances, right and left, southpaw and orthodox. He is a very smart man and feels the distance and space. Furthermore, Usyk was asked about the factors that weight difference can play in the fight's outcome. He replied, Canelo is big, yeah, and he is a good boxer, but I say Terence. Terence can box like a big guy. Professional boxer Amir Khan gives advice to Terence Crawford that he shouldn't take this fight against Canelo Alvarez. He believes both fighters are brilliant in their own way, but he said he fought both of them and Canelo brutally knocked him out when he was at the peak of his career. He thinks that Canelo is too strong for Crawford. He stated, Terence Crawford is a technician. He makes you miss and counters well. But you have to understand, when I fought Terence Crawford, I was past my best. Whereas when I was fighting against Canelo, I was at the peak of my career. I was doing really well then. I was probably winning the fight against Canelo, but obviously that one big punch that he has, he caught me with it and put me away. I don't think Crawford should take that fight because he doesn't need it. Jeff Mayweather also believes that the weight would play a significant role if the fight ever happens.
Well, I mean, two weight classes in what's the name being I mean, that I think he could still have some problems with Crawford, but still that weight is something to deal with. And you can't just say that because of Crawford's skills, he can automatically go up to 168 pounds and be the guy that's been doing this for a long time and also been one of the best fighters in the world for a long time. So that's a big jump.
Despite Alvarez being comfortable at 168 pounds and Crawford just moving up from 147 to 154 pounds for Madrimov, Keyshawn Davis believes Crawford's skills can get him over the line against Canelo and by a stunning knockout. He stated, it's obvious Alvarez has the size advantage, but size don't mean everything in the fight, Davis said. You gotta bring more to the table than just size, than just power, than just speed. You gotta bring a lot of things to the table when it comes to a fight. Keyshawn further added, I think he can knock out Canelo, yes, for sure. And if he does that, that's going to be crazy. If he knocks out this guy that he has coming up, that's going to be crazy. Madrimov is a young, hungry lion. Daniel Jacobs believes it will be a stern test for Crawford, who has expressed the desire to move all the way up to 168 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez. Jacobs, who fought Canelo to a unanimous decision loss in May 2019, is giving Crawford a chance against Alvarez if the super bout were to ever happen. He stated, skills sometimes pay the bills, and we know for sure that Crawford has the skills over Canelo. Jacobs relatives recently told Fight Hub TV. It's just sometimes power, weight, and experience may have a factor in that. So it will be a good test for Crawford, but I think the fans are the winner in that particular fight. Bernard Hopkins voiced his concerns for Terence Crawford, questioning his decision. He emphasized Crawford's well-being and benefit, asking what good the fight with Canelo could bring.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo, fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life risk.
Bernard further added, I have serious reservations about Crawford's decision to pursue this fight with Canelo. It's a risky move, and I question the wisdom behind it. As someone who's been in the ring and understands the physical toll it takes, I worry about Crawford's well-being in a matchup against someone like Canelo. What benefit does this fight hold for Crawford? There are plenty of other viable matchups available that don't carry the same level of risk. However, Teddy Atlas thinks that Bud has a special ability of seeing things in slow motion during the fight. Because of this, he cannot count him out. Teddy stated, Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring and to see things nobody else can see, and that's what makes his timing so special. Because of that, I cannot count him out of anything. Boxing coach Virgil Hunter thinks that the ambiguity of this fight is what makes it interesting. He says that both of the fighters can win this fight, which makes it intriguing for many boxing fans. He stated, it definitely would go down as an intriguing fight, and it would pique the interest of the fans. You got a lot of people thinking that Terence can win that fight, and a lot of people that think that Canelo can win. So, I think that creates a lot of interest in that fight. If we had to go on the basics and history, you say the bigger guy Canelo wins. But in Terence, we're talking about an exceptional fighter, so you can't count him out. Evander Holyfield believes that it would be very hard for Crawford to beat Canelo. Evander thinks this because of the weight jump Crawford will have to make in order to fight Canelo. Holyfield stated, it's going to be hard for him to beat Canelo. He's real basic, but he's a good fighter. Mike Tyson said that we'll have to see more of Crawford at 154 to determine if he is ready to face Canelo at 168.
Crawford has that makes him your choice.
Well, he's a great all-around fighter. He's been around, been watching for years, and he's going to do well.
Mike, is he great enough to move up two more divisions to fight Canelo at 168?
We're going to see.
So how did you react to Crawford versus Madrimov? Do you think that Crawford is ready for Canelo, or is it too much for him? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.